This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Gunman disarmed in Portland. A Buff Bay resident who reportedly disarmed one of two gunmen who attacked him at his home on Tuesday, June 29, handed over 1.38 Titan Tiger revolver with 4.38 rounds of ammunition to the Buff Bay police. Reports from the Buff Bay police are that about 8:40 p.m., the resident and a relative had just arrived home when they were attacked by two gunmen. A tussle ensued and the resident used a machete to chop one of the gunmen. The gunmen then ran, leaving the weapon behind. The police were alerted and the illegal firearm was handed over to them. The man and his relative were unhurt. Investigation continues. Men listed as persons of interest contact the police. 3 of the 5 men who were listed as persons of interest by the St. James Police have made contact with investigators. Dermain Wood, otherwise called Dom of Mapen, Clarendon, was taken into custody when he reported on condition of bail at the Mapen police station earlier today. Tovoy Burnett, otherwise called Chuchu, of Coconut Walk in Springmount, St. James, turned himself in at the Freeport police station today. The attorney of Kenrick McIntosh of Springmount in St. James made arrangements for his client to meet with investigators in the parish. Meanwhile, Jermaine Drummond of Springmount, St. James, and a man known only as Bad Driver of a flanker address in the parish have not yet made contact. They are asked to turn themselves into the St. James Police immediately. The police's interest in the men relates to a shooting incident committed about 2:40 p.m. on Sunday, June 27 at Dam Road Square, Johns Hall, St. James. 7 people were shot and injured. Motorcyclist killed in Lawrence Tavern crash. A motorcyclist died this morning from injuries sustained after he collided with a coaster bus in the Lawrence Tavern Square in St. Andrew. The crash occurred about 7:30 a.m. His identity has not been ascertained. His pillion passenger, who was also injured in the crash, is in hospital. The road safety unit says as at June 30, 234 persons have been killed due to traffic crashes. It further indicated that motorcycle fatalities account for the majority of road users' deaths, representing 35%. Man shot dead and girlfriend assaulted in Westmoreland, suspect arrested. The police are reporting that a man is in custody following an attack on a couple in Caledonia District, Whithorn, Westmoreland on Wednesday. The police say 20-year-old Fitzroy Booth was shot dead and his female companion abducted and sexually assaulted by the suspect. It is reported that about 2 a.m., the couple heard strange sounds outside their house. Booth reportedly went to a window to make checks and was shot dead. According to the police, the door of the house was then kicked in and the woman was abducted at gunpoint and taken into bushes where she was sexually assaulted. A report was made to the police and the suspect was later arrested during an operation. His identity is being withheld by the police. 5 people shot, 1 fatally in 2 separate Bull Bay incidents. 5 people were shot, 1 fatally in 2 separate incidents in St. Thomas on Wednesday. Reports are that about 8:45 p.m., a group of persons were on Wise Road when men traveling in a motor car pulled up and started firing. The corporate communication unit said the police were called to the location and 4 persons were found suffering from gunshot wounds. The injured victims were taken to the hospital where 1 man from the group was later pronounced dead. Reports are that several hours later, the police team was called to Turner Hill, another area in St. Thomas, where a man was shot and injured. Man fatally shot by cops during stolen light and power raid. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, responded to and began investigations into the fatal shooting of an unidentified male in the Ferry District community of St. Andrew. The incident occurred on Tuesday, June 29. The police have reported that a team of JCF officers were conducting an operation in collaboration with the Jamaica Public Service to identify illegal connections. It is alleged that 3 men were seen, one of whom had a firearm, and he discharged it in the direction of the officers. There was an exchange of gunfire as the men dispersed. During a search of the area, a man was seen with gunshot injuries. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. The incident scene was processed by Indicom, spent casings were recovered, and the weapons of the officers were boxed and sealed for testing. No firearm was reported as retrieved at the incident scene. Initial accounts were provided to Indicom investigators by the police officers. All members of the operation team were issued with Section 21 notices to furnish a statement and attend the offices of Indicom to be interviewed in relation to this incident. Persons with information regarding this incident are asked to contact Indicom's head office at 876-968-8875, 876-968-1932, or send information via WhatsApp at 876-553-5555 to assist in the ongoing investigation. St. Mary businesswoman charged in relation to murder of 19-year-old. Latoya Wilson, a businesswoman of Capture Land in Boscobel, St. Mary, has been charged with the murder of 19-year-old Nicole Marshall. Ms. Wilson, 31, is also charged with conspiracy to murder, wounding with intent, and illegal possession of a firearm. Investigators alleged that last Saturday, Ms. Wilson pointed out Ms. Marshall to gunmen who drove to Capture Land to find relatives of a 16-year-old girl who earlier injured a man during an altercation. The gunmen opened fire on Ms. Marshall. 2 other residents were injured. The St. Mary police say they are searching for 3 suspects in connection with the incident. Chief Justice's computer malfunction delays killer's sentencing. The much-anticipated sentencing of 62-year-old murder convict Winston Jarrett was delayed in the Trelawney Circuit Court this morning because of a malfunction with the computer of Chief Justice Brian Sykes. The computer has Sykes' sentencing notes. After Jarrett was brought into the courtroom and placed in the dock, the clerk of the court reported that he had pleaded guilty to the January 2020 murder of 18-year-old Jelana White of Runaway Bay in St. Anne and was in court for sentencing. However, Sykes apologized, saying sentencing was being put off until July 15 because of the computer issues and he could not recall the notes. Jarrett, who worked as a watchman, was further remanded. On Wednesday, he pleaded guilty to murder. White was stabbed multiple times and her throat slashed. The Duncans police reported that about 6:45 a.m. on January 25, 2020, a passerby stumbled upon White's body and alerted them. On the arrival of the police, they found her body hidden in bushes and her throat slashed. On February 18 last year, Jarrett surrendered to the police and he was arrested and charged. Alleged lottery scammers nailed in Hanover. 2 men believed to be significant players in lottery scamming in western Jamaica were arrested and charged for breaches of the Law Reform Fraudulent Transaction Act in Industry Cove, Hanover on Tuesday during an operation carried out by police assigned to the parish's proactive investigative unit. Those arrested have been identified as 26-year-old Kim Roy Atkinson of Samuel Prospect, Trelawney, and 18-year-old student Delano Samuels of Industry Cove. A third man who resides in South Carolina in the United States was also taken into custody but has not been charged. According to reports, the police went to a house in Industry Cove and found paraphernalia associated with lottery scamming. They also seized 7 telephones which allegedly had the identity data of scores of Americans. The men were reportedly unable to offer any satisfactory explanation for the items in their possession and were detained. The South Carolinian has undergone interrogation in the presence of his lawyer. He is slated to face further questioning before a decision is taken on whether he should be charged or released. Atkinson and Samuels are slated to appear in the Hanover Parish Court on July 13 to answer to the charges against them. While St. James is the undisputed hub of lottery scamming in western Jamaica, police pressure has forced many of its players to flee to parishes like Hanover. Lotto scammers, who target mainly elderly persons in the United States, have been notorious for their flashy lifestyle and proclivity to violence. Our proactive investigative unit is quite vigilant, and we are always on the lookout for scammers coming into the parish to establish links, said Superintendent Sharon Beeput, Parish Commander for the Hanover Police. We want to send a message to those scammers who are thinking about targeting Hanover not to come here because they won't be welcomed. We have jail cells here waiting for them. Kingston Western Police reap success with arrest and conviction of gang leaders. The Kingston Western Police have been reaping success with several arrests and convictions, to include most recently the reputed leader of the Screamers gang, Robert Graham, otherwise called the Southie, who was convicted in the Home Circuit Court on Tuesday, June 29. Graham was charged with shooting with intent and illegal possession of a firearm following an incident in Arnett Gardens in the parish on April 20, 2020. He is scheduled to return to court for sentencing on Thursday, July 29. Meanwhile, Mario Rose, otherwise called Lucky, of 4th Street, Kingston 12, was charged with the murder of LaFine Bent, who was shot and killed on 3rd Street in the parish on Tuesday, June 15. Rose, who is the reputed leader of the Sox gang, will appear before the gun court on Friday, July 2. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.